Won't be that long.
Won't be that long.
Well, thank you, Mr. Chairman and members of the Appropriations Committee for giving me an opportunity to speak with you today. Over the past month, we've heard the testimony of numerous secretaries, all defending their respective budgets and proposed program cuts. And I think their message was pretty clear, that these are difficult times filled with significant fiscal challenges. But Pennsylvania is not alone. Almost every state in this nation has attempted to balance its budget with federal stimulus funds, putting off the inevitable. And that is, one day we'll need to have our expenditures be in line with our revenues. Well, that day has arrived. And while the obstacles may seem overwhelming, the opportunity it presents all of us should not be. We, the elected officials of this Commonwealth, have a chance, really a rare moment in time, to truly change the tone and parameters of our annual budget debate. Actually, one way to think about it is think out of the box, so to speak. Asking the fundamental question, what should government be in the business of doing? And we should be in that business, how can we do it differently, giving taxpayers a better return on their hard-earned tax dollars? And that's why Sheryl and I are here today. Instead of fighting against ourselves within an antiquated system of government, why not change the structure itself? Looking for ways to reduce the cost, size, and scope of government, streamline its operations, increase accountability, improve customer service, but most importantly, transition the Commonwealth into a more fiscally sustainable form of government. Over the past 2 years, the House of Representatives has led the way in finding fresh and innovative ways to deal with our budget deficits. To date, we have saved taxpayers approximately $350 million through the success of our tax amnesty program, correcting tax refund error rates, and changing the way we pay for goods and services. This legislative session, we'd like to take the next step. Given our current fiscal situation and the fact that difficult decisions will have to be made in the upcoming budget negotiations, we believe that it's absolutely imperative that there be a formal process established to determine ways in which government can be made more efficient and effective. And that is why we are proposing the establishment of a Government Modernization Commission comprised of public and private sector leaders to assess the operation of our state agencies, the administration of state programs, with a particular focus on evaluating and potentially restructuring how services are delivered. Thank you.
Good afternoon. Thank you for the opportunity to make a few comments on the issues of state spending that will impact all of the residents of the Commonwealth. What we have been working on is options, which is what we need more of when trying to look for new ways for our government to operate. We have been talking to the administration, the leadership and members of the House and the Senate, and we've been looking for ways to gain support in making changes. We've also been talking with outside entities to be able to get as much input as possible. We want to make sure that we're responsive to all of the groups that have a stake in what it is that this budget will impact. Lastly, we've been compared what we're doing here in Pennsylvania to what other states are doing. We've learned from many of the national standards that we have that have worked elsewhere, and we feel very strongly that can certainly work here in Pennsylvania. There have been different variations on the same theme over the years of evaluating and examining how it is that our state government operates. Some have been more successful than others. We need to again push for the formal evaluation of all parts of state government, and we'll do so through a joint resolution that should be introduced shortly in both the House and the Senate. We're trying to work together to move this state ahead and make changes. We want to make sure that the taxpayer money is spent in the most efficient way, as well as look for new ways or the expansion of old ways to generate funds for the state while not going back to the taxpayer for money. There are ways to push cost savings that are upfront and short-term, as well as long-term options. We have spoken publicly as early as last spring, 2010, for options and possibilities that are out there, two of which were accepted: the increased use of P-cards and also the correction of tax refund errors in last year's budget, which are both good starts, but they were used on a limited basis. We really want to continue using them and expand that change. We've spoken on issues last spring like the further expansion of the P card and the use of the statewide purchasing power that Pennsylvania has to leverage all that we can do to benefit the state's general fund. We've talked about the reevaluation on the state-owned fleet and management of it, which we all know the state administration is also looking at, and we're looking for ways to have to achieve the goals of reducing excess. The use of federal-state administrative offset program. Following the path of other states that have used this as an option with great success in collecting both state and federal delinquent taxes. Another option was telemedicine. Working within our correctional institutions and the use of this type of system has been successful in other states in reducing the costs as well as increasing security while dealing with inmates with medical problems. Reduction in the fraud and abuse in the welfare department has certainly been discussed as we've gone through these hearings, and there are certainly opportunities to do so. I believe that, and as we know, the administration is looking into that area to reduce costs. But also, we not only need to look for things that will only be during this administration, we need to be looking for long-term effects that will long outlive the current administration. We need to make sure that we look beyond the typical ways that we have gone after in the past to look for relief in budget shortfalls. We don't need to go to the taxpayers. We can look internally in the executive and legislative branches. We all need to be looking for options as to how we can provide the core functions of government without having the taxpayers as a scapegoat to pay more. Thank you for the opportunity to present some options that hopefully we can take advantage of in the future. Thank you.